I had a lot of hair under there, believe it or not.
She almost went bald.
Yeah, I mean, my hair was coming out, I was losing, my nails were like neon signs, hemorrhaging, white, red. Lost all my nails, all my, toenails, it was not good. Rash all over that was itching like I'd eaten poison ivy, because it's part of that family. But anyway, but I was like, thankfully I had enough time before I was going to hit the show that I had scheduled to compete in.
She had that date.
But I was like, I'm tapping to the good Lord all the time. I was like, I'm telling you right now, Lord, I know, your plan is the best for me, but you're gonna have to kill me to not get me on that. I'm getting on that stage. I was that emphatic about it. Now, granted, my kneecap didn't blow out, so that's, you gotta kind of judge, but yes, you've got to set the date and be working toward it and be at that level of no matter what. But being willing to, when a what does come your way, because adversity is not a matter of if, it's when. And it's how we respond to that adversity. Because what I've found and I've gone through several that I won't get into, but bigger than just a life-threatening experience in my life. But when you embrace adversity, it's not your adversary, it's your ally. And I actually look at adversity as my ace in the hole. Because we cannot control the life cards we've been dealt out of the deck. Right? But we can mentally spin it so you can win it. So it's all about how we reply or respond and take those. And then, you know what? That's where we grow too. I seek out the uncomfort zone because that's where I'm going to grow and become my next stronger, better version of self. I'm always striving for stronger, not just physically, but mentally. And when you go through those adversities, then I believe that it should be our job to share that gained strength. And that's what I assign all myself, stay strong and share your strength. Because that way we can bring hope to other people who are going through something that's really big and it's hard. But you're going to become that next stronger version of yourself on the other side of that adversity. So you got to share your strength.
Get comfortable being uncomfortable.
Yes. Because when you're comfortable, you're not going to grow. You're not going to be seeking something that's challenging, right? It's just cruising. So.
I was telling these ladies in the beginning in life, if you think about a heartbeat that keeps us living, is like this, right? But when we flatline, right? Comfort. So let's keep that heartbeat. We're going to take some ups and downs.
Can I go ahead and say something?
Sure.
Just
this is Marion.
Yeah, my name is Marion. I'm sorry.
So I know it's supposed to be me
for like 20 years.
You're good.
In 1996, I was in a head-on collision car accident. Prior to that, I did a show, just as if you was 10 pounds heavier, you would have won. So I thought 96 was going to be my year. I was in Monroe, North Carolina. I got in a head-on collision car accident. From February 1996 to June 1997, I came back and won the middleweight class at Miss South Carolina. So I know what it's like to be on your back, not knowing if you're going to walk again, or you're going to have the life that you had prior to that. You are going to tell yourself, and I tell everybody, have your moment. Because where the mind goes, the body will follow. I told people that when I was in the hospital, do not bring me anything bodybuilding. And this one guy brings this 10th year edition of Flex magazine. I was upset, but I was elated because I loved the way the magazine looked. I kept that magazine for like 10 years. And what I will tell you is, you're going to have those ebbs and flows. And as far as the young lady was saying, your knee, trust me, when I was getting ready from 96 to 97 to compete again, 4 months later, I was told, you need ankle surgery. So I still committed, and it wasn't about the win or losses to me, it was just to let myself know I'm back. And lo and behold, I won. So you never know what you're gonna do if you doubt yourself, and I say this all the time, where the mind goes, the body will follow. And from that, I had a really good time competing, and when I stopped competing in 2013, I had to have a kidney transplant in 2017. And let me tell you, I've had like a total of 11 surgeries. I started working out when I was 16 years old. I'm 53 years old now. So I will tell you, don't let anything stop you from what you want to do. Don't look at it as wins and losses. Look at it as a win for yourself. And if you see yourself that way, believe it or not, people already saw you.
Yes, ma'am.
I have two questions.
Go for it.
First one I'm going to ask both, but to what you just said. For any of you who've had injuries, how did you work past the physical limitations that hindered your gains or your ability to lift heavier, to build, or what have you? That's the first one. The second one is, how have you gently dealt with family members or loved ones who didn't always agree with your goal and judged everything you did, be it what you ate or if you were on vacation, you're doing this, why you're doing that, you're too small, that type of thing.
Well, you were very kind with using the word gently.
They'll say, oh.
So I don't know if I
Well,
can-
my family has to
She's
be
special. Yeah, she's special. She can't eat like that.
One thing I tell people though is you don't have to understand it, but you have to respect it. Because I demand respect from others. And if you don't, then even with family, you can keep them at a distance. I know you can't disconnect, or you can, but most of the time we don't disconnect from our family. But I always just ask, and when you do that, it kind of helps them like understand it more. Be like, you don't have to understand it. But you do have to respect it for me, please. And that's gentle enough, I would think.
Yeah.
Personally, I know Amy will answer that. I was fortunate all those years, I only had one mishap. I about broke my ankle doing some high intensity stuff, and I twisted my ankle 3 weeks out from a show, and that thing was just, and I thought I broke it, but I didn't. But fortunately, I was mentally strong, and I always prepped. I made sure, very damn sure, that 3 weeks out I was ready. So you guys would prep in life. When I was done with the show, yes, I celebrate a win or loss. I celebrate the look. Don't shoot for progress, not perfection, because we're not perfect. You never will be. You can ask Mr. and Mrs. Olympia. They continue to change and alter their look, okay? Because things evolve. This sports evolves. You guys, I've been around it long enough. We all have here that, like, when I started, it was just bodybuilding. That's all that there was for me. So regardless, it evolves. So make sure you evolve also with it. So I was fortunate that I was 3 weeks out ready, so I didn't have to lose a lot of body fat. You know, I let that rest. You know, did I look my best? Almost, but still I was ready ahead, and that helped me because that bad boy took a while to get down. But, you know, it's kind of like back what I said. You have a strong community, don't break yourself, don't break the bank or break yourself, relationship, and that helped me. So I was able to make sure with that. I know with Amy, with the same thing, you want to talk about your weight with Mango because your community was strong. You were already, you know, she was already close to prep too. She didn't. You guys, when you gain a bunch of weight after a show, guess what? You have to lose it again. Okay? And it's harder because when I always did a 10%, 10 to 20% rule, because the ideal look on stage is not sustainable like all the time. You're not going to look like that all the time because there's a depletion that comes in if you do it right.
It's for a moment in time, just like we're judging in a moment in time.
It's a moment that you achieve to look for those judges to, but you gotta remember, it doesn't mean stop there. You still keep evolving, okay? So that's one thing that I think that people need to realize after a show too. Don't go balls to the wall crazy to another extreme and feed your pie hole to a point where you gain 20, 30 pounds and now you gotta go take it off.
Yeah.
Right?
It hurts.
Yo-yoing is not good in health, regardless of a bodybuilding show. So when you get your mind right, that body is going to, you know what I mean? You can't allow yourself, you can allow yourself a victory, but this is one thing that I remember. I not earned it, what was it? People have that, I did so well, so therefore I get to have this, right?
Yeah, I deserve it. Yeah.
Really, we don't deserve shit.
Yeah.
I'm serious, me included. I don't deserve, I'm a human being on this trying to figure out life like you guys are. And when we get that mentality, like it's all about me, no, it's not. No, it's not. I'm a head pro judge. I'm a nobody, okay? I'm just a person trying to enjoy this life of human nature on this planet. To give back to you guys. Remember we were talking about self-help, help others? That's it. And so with the family aspect, they have to realize that too, but the society's conditioned us in another format and we fell victim to it. So let's fight it in another direction, gently, but strongly, and earn that respect, because that's what we should demand for all of us. Yes?
Thank you for you guys were saying. I got the 3 things, and I was going to ask you about that.
Well, thank you.
What I was going to ask is, I can relate to what this young lady was saying about the mindset for like mental wellness. So I'm a soldier. I deployed a few years back.
Thank you.
Thank you. And I got an injury from a back of a truck that I fell off of. So when I was training, I got a program from House of Pain. When I was doing that cardio, I noticed I was having issues with my ankle.
Yeah.
It swelled up really bad to the point that I couldn't do anything.
Yeah.
So once that issue happened, I had one swelling, then my knees started messing up. So mentally, I was just like depressed. I don't want to do this because I was trying to do one thing and one thing impacted the other to the
Sure.
point where I just don't care anymore.
Yeah.
What's the
It's
point?
normal.
Yes, exactly. And then I kept that private till I started telling my therapist, you know, you need to kind of take it easy on yourself because of things happen. But I'm a service member. If I can't perform, then I'm not doing my job.
Absolutely.
But I struggle with that. It's like a cycle. One moment I'm
That community
good.
is a total different community.
Correct,
It's
yes.
all about production, you know,
Correct,
like,
yes.
it's metrics. I always say
Yes.
like with metrics,
Yep.
it's kind of funny, the things in life that are the most important, we don't measure.
Correct,
They
yes.
can't be counted.
Correct.
But then
yes.
on the other end, metrics, you know, the things that really don't matter
Right,
are
right,
measured. you
right.
know? And military's that way, and so is kind of life, but
Mhm.
it's one of those like, what do?
Yes.
Do your best and prep for those, like we were talking about, I was talking about earlier, speed bumps.
Mhm.
That was your big ass speed bump.
Correct.
You know, and so sometimes like I talk to myself, I'm like, self, you know,
Mhm.
this just ain't your damn day.
Yeah.
You know, and it might not be my month, it might not be my year, you know, but I always say there's always a show on the calendar. So back to when I said I'm just a little spoke in the wheel,
Mhm.
this whole complex of shows, there's always a show.
But also, I would say, back to your question about what do you do if you're injured, don't get hyper or tunnel vision on the can't. Focus on the can. So maybe, you know, I've been dealing with this shoulder situation that came up for going on 3 years, and I've tried everything else because I'm hell bent on not having surgery, because that's not typically what helps, really. It can cause more problems. But I've been doing other things, and I've been seeking different treatments and you know, not going for the easy route. And maybe it takes longer, but I'm having some really good success that's gonna be more lasting, longer for my life. But focus on the can. So yes, your ankle situation, but okay, but can you work up the body? Yes, you can. So those kind of things, but it doesn't even have to be to bodybuilding,
Right.
whatever. What can you do in set or in light or in spite of what's happening that is still gonna help you have some progress, which is then gonna help strengthen your mindset and make you feel like you are progressing.
You have to do unilateral training. you
Yeah.
know. So you may have 50 on one leg and 10 on this one. Each week you try to go up by a pound on the weaker one,
Right.
and that's how you build progress. And that's what I did because I had my left side was really injured. So I did unilateral training after I had the ankle surgery. And as again I say, I did it unilateral training and I won. So you just never know what you're gonna do until you put your mind to it.
And with family, like I've been for years going on vacation. It was always the family vacation was when I was in the midst of prepping. So I was taking all my food, and you know, the questions, and this was a lot of family. It's like, we got a house, a lot of people. And they're asking, so you just take the opportunity to, yeah, they're curious, and there's a, well,
It's a great
you know,
opportunity.
and they want to feed you, you know, 'cause, I mean, it's like a culture, you know. I'm like, you know, I really appreciate it. Here's what I'm going after. And this is just part of the process. And so take that as an opportunity to educate them and just give them a little bit more information so that in that roundabout way, maybe they're not as, and maybe it comes across as judging what you're doing, but it's just ignorance. And ignorance is mean, you know, you just don't know about what this is and what it really requires.
She knows that don't work with
Yeah.
black families. So, so that don't work. They're gonna judge you regardless. You just gotta keep doing it. I got to the point where I didn't care what people thought. I just did. When they said, you don't eat this, I said, you're right, I don't. Like that.
All you gotta do is give them the half shot, and then that's, pull your shirt up and say, your turn. And then they always quiet down.
Well, I'm talking in terms like, when you mentioned vacation,
Mhm.
when I've been prepping for a show that I have not been on yet because of these two situations, I'm also a veteran. So my injuries are sustained long term, right? But I'm constantly pushing past and what I can do. However, in terms of family, it's usually when you're on vacation or they're visiting, because we live in different states. It's, because I used to be, I'm a recovering cookie monster.
Okay.
So, I mean, it just is. So if they see me eat a cookie, it's, I thought you were on a diet. I'm like,
You're gonna get
you see,
judged.
so it's the little things that they don't realize dealing with this. So I say gently because it's usually elders in my family or people that I respect and what have you.
Well, your mind got to be stronger than your emotions.
I'm sorry?
Yeah.
Your mind have to be stronger than your emotions.
It is, but I'm saying.
No, it's
for the
not.
Don't put it
concept-
When somebody say something to you,
Constant- I'm
when they
sorry.
say something to you, say, I thought you were dying to eat because you said, well, I'm allowed to make a mistake.
No,
They
I'm
can relate to
making a
that.
mistake. I'm making a choice in that matter.
No, it's the people you're dealing with.
Ah.
Yeah.
You can't always want to be right.
Right.
It's like the right now.
Did you really just tell that to a woman?
Because that's the reality. And you talking to elderly, they don't understand you trying to be right.
That's right.
Well, then you can kind of go back into health, because I went to the beginning, what I was talking about. We are conditioned in a format outside of society of like unhealthy. Remember I mentioned the pizza, why is pizza not foreign and chicken is in the break room, right?
Right.
Kind of back to that, be like, well, why would you want me to, or, I'm going to the cookie thing. I know a lot of times I enjoy cookies myself, and they're like, well, why are you eating that? Like you said, I just chose to today. That's why, because, I'm making a bad choice. So then they can think, oh, maybe next time I eat cookie might be a bad choice.
Yeah.
Say, I'm entitled to a bad choice today too, just kind of walk away from it, Kind of back to that, you don't have to understand it, but respect me,
Right.
that kind of thing, going back to it. But great question, and thank you for your service.
Just tell them you love them, mean it.
Any other questions, or, yes?
I don't have a question necessarily, but I wanted to say I really enjoy this because I've been competing for probably about 5 years now. Thank you. And
Which division?
well, I started in wellness,
Okay.
and I'm doing all figure. This year's my comeback because I took a year off for like that soul, what everything y'all been talking about today, like finding my why and like turning these opportunities where I feel like I'm like frustrated or struggling with prep and like really diving in there and figuring out, well, what really am I struggling with? And really just fixing my attitude on, I get to do this. This is like an opportunity that I do not have to do.
Yeah.
So all these days that I'm like, oh God, 4 a.m. for cardio.
Yeah.
Girl.
Well, and back to the
Like,
health
nobody's
thing.
making you.
Yeah,
Right?
when you're coming back from, like, he had that devastating car wreck, and I
Right.
had the life-threatening illness. You have a whole, like, we take our health for granted. And so when I would see another person who might be having a moment, right, and they're kind of in the doldrums of that moment and complaining about they had to do cardio, I'm like, I'm just thankful that I would internalize this, I wouldn't necessarily share this, but I was like, I'm just thankful I can now do cardio. Like, I am physically able to now do it and can build from here. So, again, it's all in the perspectives we choose.
Right.
And
It's like Mo said, I mean, when she says about a community, it really is a big thing because when I was going through what I was going through, I had a guy called Willie Jolly, which he's like, at the time he was the third largest public speaker. But he said to me, he sent me an email and he said, a setback is just a setup for a comeback.
Exactly.
That's true. Good, and good luck to you this season.
Oh, thank
Have
you.
fun and enjoy.
Yeah, I started prepping
You got
January,
this.
and like my new mindset has made, I mean, it's just smooth. It's like crazy, freaky how smooth it's been going, but I think it's all on just how I'm looking at it this year.
Yeah.
So grateful and excited,
So, kind of back to when I began to talk about language. I bet the language you speak to yourself and others is different
Every
now, too,
day,
right?
it's exactly how, like, I start my day, some days I'm not, like you were saying, I'm not perfect,
Yeah.
but I really do try, especially that first, like, 5 to 10 minutes, is like, how am I choosing for this day to unfold?
What's your first name?
Sandy.
Sandy, good luck to you. I hope I get to see you on stage.
Yeah, I hope so.
Thank you for sharing.
Well, we were talking about self-help, but there's also the self-talk, and those words really do matter. So how we talk to ourselves is huge. And it is just as big as it is how we talk to other people as well.
Yeah.
But especially to
Well, this should be
ourselves.
reassuring. I mean, only 2% of the population transform. So you're in great company.
Right.
Well, I think we all transform, it just might be in the wrong direction.
Well,
That's why
But
they
not too
grow
many
bodies.
people are gonna have the mentality to get up and say, I'm gonna
Yeah.
eat this meal every 3 hours. I'm gonna get on and do cardio this minute. You're in an elite company.
Right.
So that's the way you gotta look at yourself. Tony Robbins said it best. You're the most important person you know.
And back to the military, because on the way here, or actually yesterday when I was driving, a friend of mine who competes, and she's in the military, and she's a true badass, and she was having some hard time. And we got talking about, what do I do? Because she's got these promotions in work, and she's falling short of time and stuff. And I said, first and foremost, life comes first. Okay, you guys, bodybuilding is just part of us, not all of us, right? So one thing that military, and we're driven-minded people, right? That metrics thing again. I was like, when you put all your eggs in this basket, the eggs in another basket, we're gonna fail, right? Like, it's just that give and take. And I said, you're a very driven woman, but you're too focused right now on the wrong things, just because of that strong mindset she has, but it sometimes can haunt us, right? So she was smart to chime in to somebody else's energy. She knew, because I pull off hers too. But I was like, you know what, right now you gotta deal with the now. Her career, somewhere she's getting set off for like 5 weeks. And you know, when you're out drilling, you get food whenever you get food, right? So I was like, you are gonna lose some muscle, you just gotta deal with it now. You might gain some water weight, it is what it is. But when you come back, we'll start over. So there's just some things that you're going to have to, getting off the track, right? She's gonna get back on the track. So I applaud her for calling me to do that, because she knew, I think I know this, but I want to hear it again. And I was like, girl, that doesn't mean, just because we fail doesn't mean we're failures, okay? So we're going to fail. And I say fail all damn day, fail 100%, because eventually you're going to spike up, okay? So just realize that, back to that military thing.
And I appreciate that, 'cause that's what I struggle with. It's like a slow descent to the pit of oblivion and all that other stuff. Right? I appreciate you saying that.
What a lot of people don't realize, and military people should get this a lot. When you start this lifestyle in bodybuilding and just health and fitness in general, you're changing everything to try to get in shape. But we never change our mental state and how we attack the day's objectives or problems in our lives, because you have to change everything about the way you think to successfully get through a prep and to get on stage. You're basically breaking down the way a normal person thinks and turning yourself into this type of person. So
And
there's going to be problems along the way.
kind of going back to the metrics and stuff, like, to be healthy, we know if we do something good consistently enough, you will get there. But we can't say when, okay? We know if we're consistent with it and we stay with it, it will come. But we can't tell you, no doctor, no specialist can tell you when, because hers is different than his, mine's different than yours. It's that metrics thing that can toy with us mentally, okay? So back to what really counts in life, we can't measure. So kind of go back into yourself and say, all right, self, I'm dealing with this bullshit, and I'm gonna get through this too, because I'm gonna be consistent in the progress, not perfection, to achieve it. And it might be further down. It's kind of like a bet or investment. You know, the bet's gonna come quick, you can, you know, win big or win hard. The slow, steady investment will pay off in the end.
And one of our best sayings in this industry is brick by brick, and that's exactly what she's saying. Every day you achieve something, you put another brick on the wall. And eventually, you're gonna have that whole wall filled with bricks. You don't know when it's gonna be finished, but every day, you're putting another block on that wall.
And small progress is still progress.
Well, it's like you get the question
If
asked,
things
and
are
somebody
hard
says,
now, won't
even
be
if you're
hard
a
down the
coach, they
road,
say,
like-
what do you think and what timeline?
Yeah.
I tell everybody I got nationally qualified in 1993. I didn't go to my first national show till 1998.
Same with that, I end up another scenario. I went, the national level, got my pro card, and you know what? I had no idea, but the life throws you freaking challenges, right? So that was in July. I stepped on my first pro stage in September, right after. Because I knew I wasn't gonna break myself. I analyzed it, I didn't break the bank, and I didn't break the relationship, you know, so I had my community, I knew, and it was awesome. You know, I was really excited that I was able to make that transition that quick. So you can do one or the other, you know, it just all depends on, you know, your plan and or, you know, what
And
needs
being honest
to be.
with yourself.
Yeah, I was very honest with myself, but I even had a husband who was my partner, is my partner, but you gotta remember, if you are being coached by a loved one, that they wear a different hat that moment, okay? Don't put it against them, good or bad, it's just that moment. He was very honest with me, and I was very lucky because my husband was with me all the time, so he could see my body progress. Where sometimes when, for me, it was a little bit different, but he would be very honest. And allow them to do that because that's their job. You know, because you can put that husband and wife hat, or you guys, that husband and wife hat, you got to do coach and athlete hat, okay? And that is something that a lot of people can't divide, you know, so make sure to don't cheat yourself or your spouse, your loved one. in that manner. But my husband was like, no, we can do this, do it. And so I was very fortunate. And you guys, this game of bodybuilding is so cool, but it can be so hard and it can be so rewarding, all in the same damn show. And so, like I was saying before, my personal best in my physique got last place, but not so much. The year later got, a class win. Why? I don't know, Yeah. And it's just different judges. It's a moment in time. I didn't take it personal. I think that's where I gained a lot of the judges' respect over the years, because I was bridesmaids for a long time, chasing that pro card. But I was, like Amy said, I was so, congratulated, because it wasn't their fault, her fault. We're just a moment in time the judges picked them or that person. It's nothing personal. Like, I've judged these guys a bunch. It's not when they weren't on, they didn't win. It's not that I don't like them. It's a job that you must do. And that's in life too. You just have a job that you have to do it right. And then gain that respect, like we talked about before, and share with them the feedback that is needed to grow as an individual. And then in life, you will grow also with it. Because I've watched all these guys. Bobo and I go way back. He actually, my first fitness show, I asked him about.
I'm only 22 now.
I met him when I was 22.
I've been in since 75, okay? I even competed with Mr. Lee Haney when he was a teenager. And the things that I learned from him moving up, he's a bad dude, he's a bad dude, and he's going to tell you a bad dude. And I spread out to all these people. I judge her, and I judge some of those guys there, and myself. I competed at 75, and I stopped in 2004. I did not get on stage till 92, nationally that is. So that's the time, as you're talking to these people, been at the getting hurt and stuff, take your time. It's going to come, and you'll get your results. Be smart with it.
Listen to him. He told me I was going to be great.
I did. And he did come
Well,
up.
Bobo's great too, we're fortunate.
No matter what show you're at in the world, there's a good chance Bobo's in the corner.
I will see you.
You're gonna post with him in the airport first,
Yeah.
all the way.
I remember you got off the plane from doing Muscle Max. and I
Muscle-
took you
Muscle
to-
Canadian?
Yeah, I won that out there two-time, only two-time muscle man champion in California.
Yeah, that was awesome.
Master that is.
I was, another thing that, with mindset is, and being focused on the right things. Sometimes we want something too much, and it can get us hyper-focused on that end result to our detriment. And I have a quick example of that. The year I thought I was going pro in 2017, I didn't make weight. I had to make weight for bodybuilding, and I did not. And I was, I brought my scale with me, and it was off. Actually, the scale was a little bit off, but I turned into Rocky Balboa. I was in Miami. I brought my 2 suits that were 8 triangles of fabric total, and didn't have a whole lot of clothes. I was borrowing sweatshirts from her. Went out in the streets, was running, sweating this all out. Made a sauna in the room. So I got to weight, made weight. But I was so hell bent on making weight and staying in that category. When I looked I was looking good. I could have just gone up to the next weight class, and I might have turned pro. But I didn't do that because I was so hyper focused on this is the way it's got to be. And then the next year I came in.
But in your defense, she was still determined, and you did it. You didn't let it stop you or determine like, oh, I quit, or oh, poor me,
And then the next year I went, I was looking my best ever. I had done all the prep work, but I relaxed into it. I just relaxed into it, was ready, and she's gonna wrap me up. But I was actually in the room going, manifesting it too. For the words we say to ourselves, I was like, and the next IFB pro is Amy Sutter. Oh, and here's the other thing. I got to do choreography, right, to do an evening choreographed routine. And the music I chose at the beginning of the process leading into that competition was Van Halen's Right Now. Because I was hell-bent on that right now moment. I was going to turn pro. And it all came together. Good Lord, stars aligned, all the things. But it was fantastic. But I really was more relaxed in that moment. And I also was willing to give it up. I literally said a prayer to the Lord. I said, listen, I've been working for this goal. But if I've been on the wrong track, like I feel like you brought me to this path, but if this is not what you have for me to achieve, please give me that message, and I'll change the course again. You tell me where I'm supposed to be. But if this is not what I'm supposed to do, let me know so I can get on the right track and get it. And I think when I was really willing to let it go and not have to have it, is when it gifted to me.
Testify,
You guys, we have
so you
to-
can have a testimony.
That's what I'm talking about.
I want to thank each and every one of you guys for here. We have to wrap up. It's 11 o'clock, so you guys can get to your next class. I thoroughly enjoyed speaking with you. I'm gonna go run next door. I gotta go work with the first timers. So thank you from the bottom of my heart. And thank you guys for being here and helping us too.